The end of materialist science. The inferential staircase. Triage is a term of battlefield medicine. That shell having exploded in the latrine, the tough but caring physician divides the victims into those who will not make it, those who will, and those who might. The fundamental laws of physics were to provide a scheme of things at once materialistic, complete, and simple. By now we know, or at least suspect, that materialism will not make it. And not simply because symbols have been given a say-so in the generation of the universe.
Entre nous soit dit.
Physics is simply riddled with non-material entities, functions, forces, fields, abstract objects of every stripe and kind, waves of probability, the quantum vacuum, entropy, and energies. There remains completeness and simplicity. Completeness is, of course, crucial, for without completeness, there is no compelling answer to Paley's question at all. What profit would there be if the laws of physics explained the complexity of plate tectonics, but not the formation of the ribosomes? Absent completeness, may not the universe break apart into separate kingdoms ruled by separate gods, just as, rubbing their oiled and braided beards, the ancient priests foretold? It is a vision that is at issue, in part metaphysical in its expression, and in part religious in its impulse. The fundamental laws of physics functioning in the popular imagination as demiurges, potent and full of creative power. And if they are potent and full of creative power, they had better get on with the full business of creation, leaving piecework to part-time workers. What remains to be completed for this, the most dramatic of visions to shine forth irrefrangably, is the construction of the inferential staircase leading from the laws of physics to the world that lies about us, corrupt, partial, fragmented, messy, asymmetrical, but our very own, beloved and irreplaceable. No one expects the laws of physics by themselves to be controlling. The most extreme hope for science, Steven Weinberg admits, is that we will be able to trace the explanations of all natural phenomena to final laws and historical accidents. Why not give historical accidents their proper name? Chance. The world and everything in it, Weinberg might have written, has come into being by means of the laws of physics and by means of chance. A premonitory chill may now be felt sweeping the room. We cannot see, Richard Feynman wrote in his remarkable lectures on physics, whether Schrödinger's equation, the fundamental law of quantum mechanics, contains frogs, musical composers, or morality. Cannot see? These are ominous words. Without the seeing, there is no secular or sacred vision, and no inferential staircase. Only a large, damp, unmortgaged claim. And a claim, moreover, that others have regarded as dubious. The formation within geological time of a human body, Kurt Gödel remarked to the logician Hao Wang, by the laws of physics, or any other laws of similar nature, starting from a random distribution of elementary particles in the field, is as unlikely as the separation by chance of the atmosphere into its components. This is a somewhat enigmatic statement. Let me explain. When Gödel spoke of the field, he meant, no doubt, the quantum field. Schrödinger's equation is in charge. And by invoking a random distribution of elementary particles, Gödel meant to confine the discussion to typical or generic patterns what might reasonably be expected. Chance, again. Under the double action of the fundamental laws and chance, Gödel was persuaded, no form of complexity could reasonably be expected to arise. This is not an argument, of course. It functions merely as a claim, although one made with the authority of Gödel's genius. But it is a claim with a queer prophetic power, anticipating, as it does, a very specific contemporary argument. The complexity of living bodies, Gödel observed, has to be present either in the material, from which they are derived, or in the laws, governing their formation. In this, Gödel was simply echoing Paley. Complexity must come from somewhere, it requires an explanation. And here is the artful, the hidden and subversive point. The laws of physics are simple in that they are short, they can only function, to abbreviate or compress things that display pattern or that are rich in symmetry. They gain no purchase in compressing strings that are at once long and complex strings of random numbers, for example, the very record in the universe of chance itself. But the nucleic acids and the proteins are precisely such strings. We have no idea how they arose. Filled with disturbing manic energy, they seem devoid of pattern. They are what they are. Their appearance by means of chance is impossible. Their generation from the simple laws of physics ruled out of court simply because the simple laws of physics are indeed simple. Gödel wrote well before the structure of the genetic code was completely understood, but time has been his faithful friend, in this as in so much else. The utter complexity of the informational macromolecules is now a given. Using very simple counting arguments, Hubert Yockey has concluded that an ancient protein such as cytochrome C could be expected to arise by chance only once in 10 to the power of 44 trials. The image of an indefatigable but hopelessly muddled universe trying throughout all eternity to create a single biological molecule is very sobering. It is this image that, no doubt, accounted for Francis Crick's suggestion that life did not originate on Earth at all, but was sent here from outer space, a wonderful example of an intellectual operation known generally as fog displacement. It would seem that in order to preserve the inferential staircase, some compromises in the simplicity of the laws of nature might be in prospect. Luck cannot do quite what luck was supposed to do. Roger Penrose has argued on thermodynamic grounds that the universe began in a highly unusual state, one in which entropy was low and organization high. Things have been running down ever since, a proposition for which each of us has overwhelming evidence. This again is to explain the appearance of complexity on the world's great stage by means of an intellectual shuffle, the argument essentially coming to the claim that no explanation is required if only because the complexity in things was there all along. It is better to say frankly, it is intellectually more honest that either simplicity or the inferential staircase must go. If simplicity is to join materialism in Valhalla, how, then, have the laws of physics provided an ultimate answer for Paley's question?